Good evening and welcome. Tonight we'll be discussing Fiddler on the Roof, a 1971 film directed by Norman Jewison, who also made In the Heat of the Night, about a Jewish family living in Imperial Russia during the early 1900s. The film centers on the father, Tevye, as he attempts to cope with the changes in his world, as it moves toward a more modern era while also trying to cling to the traditions he grew up with. He has 5 daughters, and as each one grows older and finds a match, he is tested in new ways, pushing him to discover just how much he is willing to bend as the youth break from the customs of his people. The Russian government they abide under also presents conflicts for him and his village. We start the film in a calm, undisturbed existence between the two peoples, and as the story proceeds, the slight tensions between them are pulled tighter and more aggressively. Fiddler on the Roof is a musical, and while I can't say I've ever been a huge fan of the genre, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. My favorite song from the movie, If I Were a Rich Man, places Tevye in his barn, where he ruminates about what a glorious and luxurious life he would live if God would but only bestow upon him a small fortune. He imagines grand staircases in his home, including one that doesn't even lead to anywhere, just for show, and how he would keep large amounts of geese and chickens in his yard to create a purposeful cacophony of noise in the town square. It ends with Tevye stepping in some animal poop, a nice reminder from the heavens most likely to be thankful for what he does have, especially as his meager existence does seem to leave room to fall even further, as we discover later on. There are only a few qualms I have with the movie, and one of them is the song Miracle of Miracles. Tevye's daughter Tzeitel and the tailor boy run into the woods for this one, and the choreography and lyrics leave a lot to be desired, especially since Tzeitel gets no lines in the whole song and just stands around smiling at Motel. They are celebrating a joyous moment, and as main characters they probably deserve to have their own song, but Miracle falls flat when compared to the other, much better options the film gives us. I was also pleasantly surprised at how funny the movie was. Whenever I am watching older films, I usually wrongly assume the humor will either be non-existent or, if it does exist, not translate so well to eyes and ears 50 to 70 years in the future. I have found the same to be true reading older literature, like Kafka or Shakespeare, but I can't seem to shake the prejudice just yet. Topo plays Tevye excellently, and he provides the bulk of the laughs, utilizing his weary, expressive face and body language, as well as his fantastic gravelly voice. Golde, played by Norma Crane, also brings a good amount of laughs to the screen, as she reminds her daughter, complaining of an old man the matchmaker suggested for her, that a husband is not to look at, a husband is to get, as well as her usually exasperated reactions to the things Tevye says and does. My other musical favorites from the film involve a number in the tavern that pits the Jews and the Russians against each other, and what seems to be a battle of dance as they move back and forth across the room like infantry on the front lines. The next one involves a graveyard where Tevye and Golde are surrounded by dancing corpses as he weaves a lie to get himself out of a problem of his own making. A deceased wife rises from her grave and gives quite a humorous and regal vocal performance, while floating malevolently in the air. We then get a wedding celebration where bottles are balanced on heads as a group of men do a mesmerizing serpentine dance, kicking dust up from the ground as they move around in unison. Whether they actually balanced real bottles in their hats without glue is hard to say, although I did see one of them wobble a bit. I think it's a little more enjoyable to imagine it's the real thing. Fiddler on the Roof is a grand story of life, suffering, love, and the struggle to adapt to a fast-changing world. The town of Anatevka feels real and lived in, and Tevye's family and the people who abide there provide a small glimpse of Jewish life under Russian rule. These songs are for the most part fantastic, the characters are empathetic and likable, and the long run time is fully rewarding in the end. I'm going to give Fiddler on the Roof a 9 out of 10.